After a year in the house, I'm finally getting started on working on building a sliding door for this doorway into the living room. This is going to be a sliding barn door style door, and across the top inside the wall there's wood blocking running the whole way so that it'll be easy to mount the track. But for now, I'm just working on getting the pieces cut and getting the wood doors assembled. To put these doors together, I'll be working in a little bit of a cramped space in the basement. The material here for the verticals is actually the 2x6 tongue and groove, which is part of the flooring planks from the barn. I have plenty of that material, so I'm going to be using it to construct the door. And the door will be a double door slider. It's a 6-foot wide opening, so it's going to be two separate sliders, each 40 inches wide, which will cover the opening plus the trim. These planks are 83 inches high, so it will also cover the trim at the top of the door as well. What I have to do is cut off the groove on one side and the tongue on the other. So I actually need to rip 2 planks down to size. I would prefer to do the ripping on the table saw, but I was gonna set that up in the barn. I don't have reliable power out there at this point, so instead I'm gonna be working in this tight space in the basement using a radial arm saw. You can see here the dust collection I have is actually just a long vacuum hose running to the shop vac, and this doesn't really fit on here. It's just kind of sitting over the outlet there, but if I turn on the vacuum, that'll catch the dust and I'll be able to feed the plank through. And in this one I'm going to rip off the tongue, and then later I actually have to reset the saw to a different thickness to rip off the groove. Well, the vacuum didn't work that well. Next, I need to build the frame for the door. So basically what's going to happen is there's going to be a kind of a picture frame around the outside with one cross member in the middle and then an upper and a lower diagonal. But what I'm planning to do is actually try and attach these together using pocket hole screws, where I put the pocket holes behind where that frame is going to go. So what I'm going to do is take a couple of planks over to the workbench and just see how it goes connecting these together. I'm a little concerned that the pocket hole screws are going to tend to pull it tight such that it almost wants to cup instead of laying flat. But we'll see what happens with just the first 2 pieces and then work the rest of the way. I've set up my pocket hole jig for 1.5 inch thick stock, and I'm going to be drilling toward the groove side of the tongue and groove lumber. Now hopefully this groove indentation is not going to impact the process here. Let's drill a hole and just see how it turns out. Well, nothing punched through, so I'm going to go ahead and drill 2 more holes and then we'll spin this piece around and screw it to the other one and see if the screws hold without stripping through or splitting anything out. So this seems to have actually worked pretty well. Flip this up. We see the V groove on this side, so if things are not perfectly flush on this side, that'll actually be okay because the frame is going to go on this smooth side. So as long as this is staying flat on this side, we should be good. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and build up 2 more, which is half of the door. The door is 8 planks, so if I can build up 2 more, get 4 planks built up, and then build up a second set with 4 planks, then it will just be a matter of connecting these 2 sets together. Alright, the 2 halves that I assembled over at the bench are now connected together up the middle. It is exactly 40 inches wide at the bottom and at the top, and then corner to corner, going both ways, is 92 inches. So everything is good and true at this point. Now it's time to construct the frame to support this, because right now just the tongue and groove, it's kind of flimsy, especially if you pick it up from this side. If you pick up from the end, it's okay. But the frame, I need a 40-inch board for the top and the bottom, and the way that this is 83 inches tall works out perfect for a 6-foot vertical on each side in terms of making the picture frame outline. And then we'll have a 29-inch piece going in between, because I'm going to use 1x6 to frame this in, and that's conventional pine board 1x6. So actual thickness is 3/4, actual width is about 5.5. So here's the idea with the frame. So we have our bottom and top piece on there. Then we've got our 6-foot sides. Those are uncut. I was able to buy 6-foot boards. And then we have our mid piece there. What I'm going to do, right now I have these all with the ugly side up. I'm actually going to take them over to the bench. I'm going to assemble this frame. I'm going to use pocket hole screws on this side because then when I flip it over, they won't be visible. And once I assemble this square frame, I'll work on the diagonals that are going to go in there. Here is the assembled frame. Right now it's just laid on top in the correct orientation. What I need to do now is put some wood glue on the back side of it, line it up just right, clamp it in place, and then I'm planning to just use small finish nails along the perimeter and across the members to tack it to the tongue and groove structure. Well, here it is, door number 1, all assembled, ready for sanding and finishing after it dries. I need to build another door just like it, and then we'll stain them both to match. Having used those 1.5-inch tongue and groove planks, it is a rather stout and heavy door. I hope that once I have the second one made, they're not going to be too heavy for most of the barn door railings that are available. As it is, I know that because this is extra thick, essentially the door itself is 2 1/4 thick, as opposed to 1.5 inches, 1 3/8, 1 3/4. Because of that, I already have to special order a track system. So I haven't gotten a track yet. I'm gonna make the doors up first and then look at exactly what I need for a track. I know so far that it should be 14 feet long. Other than that, I gotta really figure out how to factor in where that rail needs to be spaced off the wall, given the existing trim, which is 3/4 inch, plus the thickness of this door. So I have to do some more research on that, but otherwise I'm using material that I had, and that's the best way to do things in my mind. If I've got all that tongue and groove, and I definitely will have extra of that, then I may as well use it for this application. So that'll be a wrap for this video.